So it finished. Forest 1, Scumchester United 0. I can just keep repeating that. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Welcome to Happy Old Reds. Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Happy Old Reds as we get to bask in the glory of doing the double over Manchester United. We'll also have a look ahead to the Villa match. We'll be chatting the usual crap and everything else in between. We fired Ant, so he won't be on today. Ez will be on in about 20 minutes. And him and Rob aren't speaking, so once Ez comes on, Rob will go away. It's going to be one of those episodes. And Ant has asked me in his last request, in his exit interview, he goes, can you wish Laurie a happy birthday for today and say hello to her son, Charlie? Saw them Tuesday and Charlie's a big fan. He's about 7 years old. All right, and chill, man. I barely said hello to everyone. All right. There, you're happy. You get your commission from Laurie. So happy birthday, Laurie. Looking good for 54 years old. I'm joking. Ooh. I'm joking. She's like max 27. But yeah, I'm in a good mood, guys. I'm in a good mood. I've been on a couple of streams already today. They apparently have been cooked because they asked me, would I rather win the FA Cup or get top 5? I was like, top 5? Apparently, I'm not allowed to say that. So it's been an interesting day. And we're pretty much in the top 5. I've kind of won second now, boys. But should we start with the United game? Once these lot have run them likes up, please do hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe. You know the usual deal. Rob, seeing as you got to bugger off in a bit, because we're just like all over YouTube now. You're off to do a Villa podcast at 7. How long's that running for?
I don't know. Depends
if it's still live, we'll redirect the guys over to it off the back of this stream. Make sure you subscribe there as well. But yeah, let's start with the game, man. It was the narrative has been quite funny from outside the Forest fan base, in particular the United fan base.
To respond to that narrative. I'm ready to respond to it.
Yeah, well, let me run the narrative for those of you who haven't seen what the United fans are saying.
Got it here. Yeah.
They're saying we were crap. Yeah, we should be embarrassed about how we played and that they played well and that they created more chances than us. And if their attack was better, they would have won. Have I missed anything off?
Utter crap, right? So, look, I had the dubious pleasure of being at the game, and I think I would say that was even more tense than the Liverpool and Man City games. It did feel tense, and I think it was just because, in the Man City game, we scored with 5 minutes to go, right? Whereas when you score 5 minutes in, and he actually did it, he actually brought on Morata in the first half, which thank God he did.
How come you didn't text me? Yeah, I mean, you nearly jinxed it.
I was too paralyzed with stress. So it was hard going because we didn't have a lot of possession. But I just to expand on the narrative, right? So this is what I've read on the internet. So apparently Manchester United deserved to win. You didn't, right? Apparently the neutrals weren't entertained. I don't care. And apparently this style of football is not sustainable. It is, right? So that's my response to the narrative, right? Let me just explain. Garnacho shooting 15 times over the bar does not deserve anything unless he's playing rugby, okay? Right? The reason that we won is because Anthony Elanga scored an absolutely superb goal and Manchester United didn't, right? That is the only statistic that matters. And also, let's go back to the old cliche of goals change games. Yeah. If that Elanga goal had come later on in the game, then the entire match would have been different. Right. So, fair play to Nuno for locking it down. He made some. The tactical aspect was quite interesting. I don't know if we've got time to go into it.
Yeah, we do.
I felt so with United having their 3-4-3. We set up with the 4-2-3-1, and it basically Well, actually, no, we had more like a 4-3-3 to start off with. It looked like Gibbs White was a false 9 with Taiwo on the left of him and Elanga on the right of him, but the three of them were moving around. But it felt like we had a 4-3-3 with Danilo, Yates, and Gibbs. No, who am I missing out? Danilo, Yates, and somebody else in midfield. Anderson in midfield, right? And it felt to start off with as well a little bit like Yates was dropping back into a back five when we were out of possession. Yeah, and also when you've got Danilo, who we all know can't tackle anymore because of his broken leg, it was basically we were down to one-man midfield, which is Anderson. And we were starting to suffer a little bit the same as what Brighton did when they turned up and they had a one-man midfield against us. So we were getting overrun, and fair play to Nuno. He had to make the sub because of Aina, but he went the whole hog and he changed the shape, and it did very well because United were then reduced to completely ineffective long-range shots. We frustrated them, just like we've done so many teams before, Crystal Palace or whatever. The shooting from 30 yards, they ain't going to beat Sells from there. And to be quite honest, the only time they looked properly dangerous was when they brought on Slabhead Maguire with about 3 minutes to go, and he had 2 great chances in the dying seconds, right? That was yet another outstanding defensive performance. And we have to remember that comes on the back of 120 minutes plus penalties against Brighton at the weekend, with key players unavailable. Hudson-Odoi and Wood, arguably our two biggest goal threats, unavailable. I mean, I was impressed with your optimistic 5-0 prediction, but with no Wood and Hudson-Odoi, I think that was a little bit...
Yeah, that's before, obviously, Hudson-Odoi was that, otherwise it would have been 5-0.
So for once, and I think this is probably the one time this season that my 1-0 prediction came true. It was always going to be a 1-0. But what I just want to say about this win is like this, they really had to work hard for this. And I'm glad Ant's not here because I say they worked 110% in that game, right? They really, that is how hard you have to work. But those 3 points are now massive so that we can now even afford a slip at the weekend. I don't think we will, by the way, because I think that the team are playing at such a tempo now. They are playing at such a tempo. I can't see us losing at the moment. You know, we've only really taken our foot off the gas when we came back from Dubai and we got that Fulham and the Newcastle game. But right now, they are on it. Like, everybody is just a yard faster. Everybody's covering everybody. And Murillo clearing off the line at the end, that just exemplifies the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm actually, even though we're picking up injuries, starting to get casualties and fatigue and whatever, I'm actually more optimistic about the Villa game after seeing that. Let's get the job done. Let's get to 60 points, right? I mean, that was so massive, that game. Those 3 points at this moment, when we're depleted, we're worn out from the FA Cup, to produce that result is absolutely massive at this moment. And I tell you, that's probably the most important result of the season, just because we could have been derailed, you know? Let's be fair to United. They weren't bad, right? But they are a £1 billion team. They are a £1 billion team that's never been outside of the Premier League, right? My question to them is, why weren't you better? Why didn't you play a more entertaining game? Why didn't you score, right? That's what you have to do if you want to win. So don't complain about us. And in terms of, I saw somebody say, oh, that style of football doesn't belong in the Champions League. Hello, we have to get there first. We will sign players over the summer, and the style of football will, I'm sure...
Didn't Mourinho win the Champions League playing that style of football?
Yeah, well, actually, Mourinho was the one that said those who don't know about football talk about stats, right? And that's the more apposite than ever if you talk about that game that we had on Tuesday night. So I'm optimistic about Villa now. You've got to remember that Villa are playing PSG in a few days, and they're terrified of getting injuries, and they really don't want to be playing us right now. I can tell you that they would rather have anybody else than us right now, because they need 3 points from this game. I think it's probably going to end up in a draw now. We are picking up injuries here that Wood might be back. Just even the threat of that is enough to mess with their heads.
All right, before you start getting clipped up again, right?
Yeah,
and misquoted on Twitter because that was
fun.
God.
Well, that's what Twitter's for, isn't it? Right. So just to be clear, we had no official news about Chris Wood. So all I did was a little bit of research on what kind of hip injuries people can get and what kind of prognosis that is. And then everybody starts going like, this man called Rob on FFTV said Chris Wood's out.
No. I'm not letting you do that, right? Because the people saying that are lovely people, right? Shout out.
That's not against Hannah, by the way. Hannah Forest,
to
hello.
the rest of them, right?
Yeah, there's a few people that don't like FFTV. There's a few people that don't like FFTV, and I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. It wasn't them, but but I do have news on Chris Wood. Not official, but I've heard through some of the guys that Chris Wood might be in the squad for Saturday. So it's looking good. Hopefully. Einar's out. We'll come on to that in a minute. I gotta say, Ben, like, I'm disappointed in you.
What, for predicting a draw?
No. For the fact that we are now 11 minutes and 42 seconds live and no one interrupted Rob to shut him up, right? He's loving it right now. I wasn't there to shut him up.
He got me out of the way now. I can go.
That's only because I know he's leaving in the next 8 minutes. So I thought he might.
Yeah, you can't wait, can you?
Let him ramble.
I gotta say, I agree with a lot of what he says. Just before I come to you, mate, shout out to Muhammad. Hope you're feeling better, bro. Cheer up. Ant's with you. Ant's sick. That's why we haven't really fired him. I wish. He's sick as well. So get wells to Muhammad and to Ant in the chat. And Mark, you're just too lovely. This is the Mark in the chat that I do like. All right. Forget Wei. Forget Dennis. It's all about this, Mark. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Mad, make sure you thank Mark. Chris, make sure you thank Mark. Stony, NG5, make sure you thank Mark. Jack, make sure you thank Mark. And JNR as well, make sure you thank Mark for his generosity. You're an absolute legend, Mark. Much love to you. All right, guys, please do hit that like if you haven't already. I guess I'll just come to you, Ben. I don't really know what I'm asking you because I feel like Rob's covered the rest of the season in that speech.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's pretty much done the whole show in 13 minutes.
Right, you can all watch Villa Forever now.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But I want to ask you in specific about Ryan Yates, who I thought that was his best game of the season. If I'm being honest with you, I thought he bossed that midfield, rattled Bruno, rattled Casemiro, and what have you. What was your take on his game? Was it good, or am I gaslighting him?
Yeah, no, I think it's fair to say that Yates is much improved recently. And that was the perfect game. And I've mentioned this before, and I know Anne has kind of disagreed with me, but I think these are the type of games where Yates does well, where he's basically got a target, who in this game was pretty much Bruno Fernandes, and he's going in there to wind them up, and it works. They get frustrated. Look how Casemiro reacted to Ryan Yates when he was rolling around on the floor. And I didn't even think it was that bad, actually, what Yates did then, but they're getting frustrated. And when you get frustrated, you start to panic. You start to get desperate. I thought he was brilliant. And don't forget, he got the assist for the goal to Elanga. He's much more progressive now. He moves the ball forward instead of just back all the time. I think he's massively improved. And if he can keep that consistency, then he'll be a decent player for sure. And it's good to see because, look, we get criticized sometimes for people saying, oh, we're negative about players. We're not. When someone has a bad game, we speak about it because that's what we're here to do. And when someone has a good game, like Yates did, we're here to praise him. So I thought he was brilliant, and he's definitely much improved. You know, if he becomes consistent, if he becomes like Nico Williams, for example, and the way he's improved over time, he could be a really, really good player. Because I think Williams at the moment is one of our best players, and he's making a huge difference. But just to summarize the match briefly, for Manchester United, if you're second worst player to ever play in the club, right, Harry Maguire, the second worst player to ever play at Man United, is suddenly your best player at the wrong end of the pitch, you've got something to worry about. Because Harry Maguire came on and was effectively a number 9, and he actually looked pretty decent doing it. And he's the second worst player Man United have ever signed after Anthony. So, look, they need to go back to
Wait, who's their worst player, sorry?
Anthony. Yeah,
not Rasmus.
I mean, he's a great player outside of Man United, as is Elanga, etc. But at Man United, no one seems to be doing well. I mean, even Rashford has left and having a good time as well. So there's clearly something wrong with their club. And all of their fans are based in London anyway, so they're not a proper club in my eyes anyway. But look, Sells only had to make one good save. He tipped it over the bar. I can't remember any other big saves apart from that. So they had probably one decent chance. The Harry Maguire chance at the end, to be fair, was nearly in the goal. But, Murillo this season and Milenkovic are just solid at the back. And although we've had a lot of negativity on Twitter regarding people like Yates from the Man United fans, the fans who are neutrals, all they do is praise our defence. I see a lot of praise for Murillo and Milenkovic. Without them, I think Milenkovic has been one of the biggest differences this season. So we should praise them as well. But I did have I predicted a 1-1 draw because I was a bit worried that we didn't have Wood in the team. But I did have a thought in the back of my mind, like Elanga may go and score, just because, again, it's against his old club. We saw how much it meant to him last time. I think last time we played United and won, he actually cried at the end of the match. I think he was crying into Nuno's arms, shedding a few manly tears. So for him to go and put that goal through and hit it with his weaker foot again, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So overall, a really good team performance. The only slight negative for me was another disappointing match from Danilo.
Yeah, he was. His passing was really poor. It's nearly as poor as you're predicting, Ben, if we're being honest. I mean, Ez joined it late, and he's ahead of you. Rob started poorly. Let's be honest, Rob. I'm sure Rob won't.
Because I didn't predict a 7-0 win against Brighton. Sorry, didn't see that one coming, I'm afraid.
No, you didn't predict a win against Brighton, Rob. Let's be real here, right? Let's be real. And then now we've got.
I've caught up.
I'm just going to bring it up here. So this is something that's going on between all the Forest podcasters, right? And
Right, I'm 6 places below and alphabetically there. Could we just be clear? I am respectively mid-table. That is alphabetical. Look. There's how many of us are on 12 points there?
Well, yeah, it's not alphabetical because I'm on 12.
Joint 14th. I'm joint 14th.
Wait, why am I ahead of you if it's alphabetical?
Oh yeah, they're all joint, aren't they?
We're joint 14th.
That's not the discussion here. Let's not make it about you.
It's not alphabetical though.
Look, I cannot, Ben, allow you on this podcast if you finish behind Chris. Let's make that crystal clear now.
I can't even remember. I can't remember what I've predicted for the rest of the season.
Right,
this
Chris
is like Derby's record.
And long may that stayed away, and he's now trying to play this whole narrative. I actually want to be Bunham. I think it'll be funny if I'm Bunham, but loser mentality, right?
What I was trying to do is channel my inner Steve Cooper and stick to that kind of bottom 3,
and then drive out late, kind of thing.
Yeah, drive out late and secure victory.
Yeah, but I'm warning you now, and I'm having it on the record. If you finish below Chris, we're sending you to Forest all over, man. And I'll take Matt. We'll take Matt here. So yeah, make sure you're following all these podcasts, all these YouTubers. Yeah, top blokes. Maradona of Midlands is steaming away from 1865 there, man. And some brown envelopes there going on. But yeah, Ez, hi.
Hi guys. Sorry I'm late.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm surprised Rob's still there. I thought it was going to be a switch in, switch out. I was going to tag him. I told him. Well, we're on screen together. I don't know if it's going to continue for long, but I'm here anyway. We got rid of Ant. Now we're just working on Rob. I'm joking.
Shout out to Tom as well, all the way in Vegas. Our man Tom.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Ez? I want to ask you. I'll be honest. I can't bother to listen to your analysis. I just had to listen to 15 minutes of Rob's analysis because no one was here to interrupt.
Well, I'll give you my analysis, but I
want to ask you about the style of this play because there's a narrative they're pushing. I've had to deal with it today that it won't be sustainable. You can't just low block your way. Cass was crying about it straight after the match. Yeah. Wait till you get to next season in the Champions League. all this stuff.
What would they know about it?
Yeah, they won't even be there. So
exactly, what is your take? Right, ignore because they're saying it was salty tears, but is there a point in what they're saying? Can we go into the Champions League? I know Ant has said many a time that no team with less than 45% possession has qualified past the group stages in the Champions League. Is there merit to them, or do you think no, it can be done?
100% it can be done, because if you delved into those stats a bit more, I'm sure there's no team with lower possession stats than us have finished in the top 3, or potentially going to finish in the top 3 of the Premier League. So I think it goes both ways, you know. So we've definitely people are saying it's anti-football. It's certainly not. It's calculated. Tuesday night, whenever we played, was for me one of the most comfortable games we've had. I don't know what the rest of you guys have said about it, but I left early. I left before. I actually left early so I could get
half time.
No, not quite at half time. About just before the injury time board went up. That's when I started walking out. Anyway, so I missed the goal line clearance from Murillo. But up until then, as much as possession as they'd had, as many opportunities or shots they'd had on target or towards our goal, I at no point did I feel worried. I don't think Sells had to make any real decent save throughout the game, so I was comfortable. And we've done this all season, so what's to say we can't do it at the next level, you know? So I think the players are so well drilled that even making a couple of changes before halftime, which Nuno, I think he did it to save a substitution slot. To be honest, I think he would have made that swap at halftime for Danilo out because he was really struggling to get with the pace of the game. But Nuno, he made it. He's making those brave decisions, and it just showed how easily we carried on after that. Because as much like I say, we gave them. It was our game plan. It's our game plan all season, and we score that first goal. It's game over for them. I didn't see a threat from them. I can't see why we couldn't do that in the Champions League. I've seen Atletico Madrid do it. I've seen Mourinho's Porto do that. Mourinho's Inter Milan do that. Yeah. Especially his Inter team. Yeah. Go 1-0 up, shot up, shot. That was their tactic. So absolutely you can do it at that level. And judging by the way this season has gone and how well the players have bought into that system, it's not something that Nuno's going to throw away for next year, is it? So I'm just seeing better players in those situations. Sorry, go on.
I actually think if anything it'll work in our advantage, because we prefer, and it's a bit of a strange thing to say, but we prefer the opposition to have more of the ball. And European teams like to play possession-based football where they pass it around. You know, the classic Barcelona goals where they have 30 or 40 passes and then score a goal. I don't think they'll know what's hit them. As soon as they lose that ball, I don't think they'll be able to cope with us. They won't be able to cope with our counter-attack. As long as we've got fit players, and this is something for the weekend as well, I think. I really hope Hudson-Odoi's back, because 4-2-3-1, I think, is a perfect formation to counter-attack a team like Villa as well.
Yeah, we'll go on to that, because I tend to think that, you know, I've already predicted a point from Villa. I think I've only predicted us to drop 4 points to the end of the season, and one of them's against Villa this weekend.
Have you been right so far, Ez? I'm trying.
Yeah. I've been 100% so far, bro. 3 wins. We've had 3 wins. Happy Clapperez, you know.
What did you say for Villa?
I said a draw for Villa. Draw for Villa and Crystal Palace. They're the only 2 games that I think
we win. I hope we win just to mess your stats.
Absolutely, I'll take that. But you got to look at, they've got a huge midweek game in the Champions League. So that may play into our hands. And because if they don't get that early goal, I think they're going to be looking to just hold on. So our game plan has got to be, I think, I would start with the back. If we will go on to it, but I would start more defensively on Saturday, because I think shutting them out for an hour or so would be that ideal game. They want an early goal and they want to be able to rest some players, ideally. And I don't think we want to give, obviously we don't want to give them that opportunity. So shutting them out for the best part of an hour would be the game plan come Saturday. I've gone for
as if you're playing 3 at the back, would you start Silva Moreira or Harry Toffolo?
Well, should we move on to the Villa game and kind of incorporate that in? I mean, I'm not yet Man U outed kind of thing, I could go on for another week, but
Absolutely.
I guess enough on Man U. Just
one thing actually, because I can't remember the double we did in 91, 92, was it?
I don't remember it.
I really can't. Please, guys, tell us what the scores were and who were the goal scorers in those two games. Because that's when I started supporting Forest, really, just before that. And I know it was a FA Cup final.
That would have been me in the FA Cup final.
Yeah,
so
that's when
I'm not going to remember that, man. I was like, I'm 23 now. Back then, I would have been
this is the thing. Man U weren't the team. Man U weren't that big team then. It was Liverpool,
Yeah, but we saved them. Yeah, if it wasn't, the one thing that pains me is that semi-final.
Yeah.
That semi-final that Fergie would have got sacked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you imagine how nice?
It's mad, isn't it? That sliding door moment.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Oh, it is what it is. But yeah, let me just give you some team now. There'll be a full preview out tomorrow morning. It'll be out tonight for the members.
He's done his press conference, hasn't he?
He's done the presser. So he said that Chris Wood, they're looking day by day. Now, I've spoken to my boy that I love, and he says that there's a very strong chance Chris Wood will be in the squad on Saturday. So whether or not he's starting, I don't know, but that's the information that I've got. So this whole 4-week thing, operation thing, whatever it is, it seems like he should be back for that. He said that Einar, for those of you asking in the chat, he's out for this game. I don't know how long for. I haven't had any information like that, so I don't know. And then the other thing, Callum Hudson-Odoi is back as well. So Callum Hudson-Odoi, I don't know how true this one is. I don't know this, but a lot of people have been saying his partner had a baby or something, and that's why he was away.
I don't think Nuno answered that question, did he?
So, no one answered it. Yeah, that's the rumors going around. I don't know if they're true or not on Callum Hudson. If they're true, congratulations to him and his partner. Good luck trying to get some sleep. Where's Arctic Fox? We got rid of him. He was talking too much. Friar Tuck. So
just before we move on, a quick point on Taiwo's performance on Tuesday. One of the things I felt sorry about for him is that he's not had the main team around him when he's been played in the cup games. Yeah. He's had the odd cameo appearances with 5 minutes to go. I didn't think he was that bad. I thought we didn't really play that style. Once we got the early goal, the fact that we got the early goal, I think obviously Nuno made the changes before half time. I think it really kind of like changed our game plan. We weren't looking forward at all. We did very few progressive attacks throughout the rest of the game.
I get you saying is the thing with Taiwo for me is, even if I think he's playing okay, I no longer feel like he's going to score.
As long as he's a threat for me, and allows other players to get. But I have enjoyed his hold-up play at times. I think
his hold-up's been magnificent. He looks physical, strong.
Yeah. So when he's got the flying wingers around him, and he's holding up the ball like that, that's when he can be, a real asset. I feel like he's obviously we won't have much of a choice but to play him. I think Chris Wood, being potentially back, still would only see him on the bench. So he's starting with Taiwo on the weekend. I don't think that's a bad thing. Up against Ezri Konsa and what's his face in their defense. He'll keep him occupied, and that's what he'll do. But you got to have the players around him. So I think Taiwo, longer term, is not going to be obviously part of the plans as far as I'm concerned, and I think we all agree on that one. But for now, he's still an asset. We've managed to win games without Wood scoring, without Taiwo scoring, without Callum Hudson-Odoi scoring. So it hasn't been so much of a problem and an issue that people keep trying to throw at us, without them playing. But he hadn't scored for like 3 or 4 games, hadn't he, before his injury? Yeah. So we still managed to get points out of those. So the fact that we're not so solely reliant on him is positive. But we have to get other players, and I think he'll give minutes to Sosa. And I think that's what, if you watch Nuno's way he's brought players in throughout the season, it was the same with Jota. He gave him a few longer sub appearances, and then he gave him a start. And I think you'll see Sosa potentially starting on the weekend as well. He's going to have to utilize more of his squad if we've got some injury issues. But Crypto asked me about whether I'd play Moreira Silva on the right back. Do you know what?
Just for the context on
apparently he's injured according to the chat.
So Thursday night, with Einar being out, the issue we've got, I mean, this is such a Forest thing, isn't it? The next game we play is who? Villa. Who can't play against Villa? Moreno.
And he did really well, by the way, to come on after not playing.
He did okay.
Yeah, but to come on after not playing, he did well.
Yeah.
It was okay. But anyway, that means that we've literally got your options for fullbacks will be Nico Williams, Eric De Silva, and Harry Toffolo.
Well, according to
also Morato has played left back.
I've seen at least 3 people in the chat say that Moreira was injured playing for under 21s or something. And he's not been playing for them.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Another one I want to potentially throw in because I alluded to, I'd go with a back 3, so I'd have wing backs.
Don't say Niakate at left back, Ed.
No. Why have we always got to do this left back issue against Villa?
No, it's not left back. I'm leaving Nico at left back, but I'm bringing Nico Dominguez as our right wing back. What do you think to that? I think he's got the energy, he's got the defensive know-how.
The only thing with Dominguez is he likes to go into a tackle quite hard. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was playing as like a defensive wing back. He'd probably end up giving a penalty away or something.
How do I feel about that?
That's a big change for him.
Left field, that's right field. I kind of get what you're saying here.
Yeah, because then essentially
you're going back 3. You're going back 3.
I'm going back 3. So I'm going to back 3. So
you're kind of doing a callback on the other side here.
Yeah. A reverse callback.
Yeah.
I tell you what, right? This actually happens in the games if you watch it closely. Ryan Yates often falls back into like a centre back position.
He did
against in theory, you could play a 5 back and push one of them out right and put Ryan Yates as like the right centre back, for example. But allow him to move.
Look, what Alfie's saying here, Morato can play left back. He's played it before. Before he joined up Forest.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
He doesn't look like a left back though.
No,
So
that's.
I mean, he doesn't even look like a footballer. He looks like a heavyweight boxer.
Oh, he looks like a thug, man, a proper thug. I love it.
If you go with a back 4, I think he could do that. I think he could do that role. But it's whether I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you go back 4 or back 3? You say 3 centre backs, because I just think the game plan should be to try and keep them quiet. Because, like I say, we've got a huge game on. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday they're playing in the Champions League? They've got a massive game.
I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday night, yeah. So they've got a huge Champions League game. They're more likely to want to go a goal or 2 up early doors and then be able to rest a few of their players. So I think we've got to kind of try and keep them quiet for as long as we can. It's a point. Wolfie will know, and a few of you guys might know. I went onto a Man U. It wasn't a Man U channel. Sorry, it was George Mo's channel. But I had some Man U fans on there after the game on Tuesday night, and the mentality from them is that that we're just hitting a lucky streak and it was bound to drop off at some point and we can't sustain it into next season. The fact of the matter is, we've managed to do this. We managed to shut these up. And what they don't like is the fact of the matter is we've replaced them. Man U are yesterday's fish and chip.
And Spurs.
And Spurs. And that isn't going to change overnight. It doesn't matter how much money they spend in the summer, and Man U got no finances. They need to get players out before they can get anyone in. They're nowhere near in the position that we're in, and it's the lack of. I don't want them to respect us. I don't care if they respect us or not, but they need to be aware of that we are here to stay. It's not a flash in the pan. The way Forest have managed to do it, obviously, I think we're probably 2 years ahead of what the game plan would have been or the outline would have been. But you you got to take the chances when you get it. And Forest have been managing to do that throughout the season. Even with these injury doubts, potential players missing over the next few games, I think the mentality in the fan base, and I think genuinely, we've already had this conversation. 3 more wins, guys, and we're secure in our Champions League position.
It's not even that much, as I think we need 1 more win.
You reckon? I think our home games would be enough to secure.
How many points are we on? 57.
Anyway.
We're on 57.
57, yeah.
Okay, so you can't class Leicester. Leicester's automatically 3 points, right? So that's 60. That doesn't even count as a win.
I hope I put a win against Leicester on that predictably.
Like anyone who's playing Leicester now, it's not about whether or not you win. It's whether or not you concede a goal to Leicester. You don't want to be the first team to concede a goal to Leicester, man, because they haven't scored since since I can't remember.
Eight or nine games, isn't it?
It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I was going to suggest that as well.
Well, what's interesting is some of the things the guys are saying in the chat. A few of you are saying Danilo at left back or left wing back. He just can't pass at the moment, but I think the profile probably he suits it a little bit. I don't know. And then he doesn't
like going in for the tackle though, does he? Because since his injury, he just seems a bit.
It's very, very rare that a player gets singled out by the entire fan base at the ground, but everybody was, everyone.
Apart from Ant, what was Ant like?
Well, thankfully, I wasn't sat next to Ant, so he probably would have been praising him. But Danilo was awful. Whatever it is, I mean, he didn't get to the pace of the game. He looked like he was tired after like 20 minutes. Man, he was huffing and puffing. That wouldn't be a solution. I'd rather have Toffolo at that. Right?
Are we overcomplicating this? This? It's like bring Toffolo in. I worry about Toffolo's lack of pace and lack of game time. I would probably put De Silva at right back. I think.
Well, that's what I said, but
I don't see why not. Yeah, I don't see why not. Has he played a league game this season?
Is he injured, Chad? Were you saying someone was saying he was injured?
There's a few people because I in my team I had De Silva at right back, but apparently there's 3 or 4 people saying he's injured in the chat.
It's mad because every time I've seen the under 21s play, he seems to be playing as a striker because he's scoring goals left, right.
He used to play as a striker,
yeah. And on the little formation app, he's down as a striker.
Yeah, so that's certainly how they've been playing him. It'd be a shame if he is injured, but if he's not, then this is the kind of game that I think Nuno's if he's gonna use him, he's gonna use him now. But I don't think he's been used in the league so far this season. So
we'll just ask him because he can't say. But yeah, we'll ask him. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah,
we'll find out.
But if he's fit,
are
you hell bent on a 3S for this game?
Yeah, just because how I think the game plan needs to be. It needs to be to keep them quiet. I think they desperately would want early goals and rest a few players. I'm just having a look if they're playing Tuesday or Wednesday next week, but it will make a difference going into that game.
Tuesday. I'm sure he said it's Tuesday.
Check.
Might be wrong. I don't know. I mean, I think we're overcomplicating this. I think to change the system for me is going too extreme over the sake of one player when, Harry Toffolo is not as good as Nico Williams, but he's still a warm body who can play left back to a decent level. It's like, doesn't need to be that deep.
Well, they're playing on Wednesday night. Obviously, they're away.
Is it Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday night. So away first leg to PSG. And we saw how PSG, I think, destroyed Liverpool over both legs. I think Liverpool were lucky to come away with anything in that first leg. So they're a very, very good team, and it'll be very hard for Villa to progress from that. So it depends how seriously they're going to take that. I think they'd rather get it, like I say, try and get the early goal, play their strongest starting lineup. And that's where we need to be, a bit more firm at the back. And so I'd start with a 3. I genuinely would. And I don't see where it's not help. But what I would do in the middle too, though, and I'm hoping that...
Before you do, I was going to ask you, that's exactly what I want to ask you about. Would you change out in the middle two due to the minutes they've played?
One, due to the minutes they played, but also we've seen it on a couple of occasions this season. I would want to put MG Dub and Anderson in that middle too. Hoping, because I think they would. Who did we play them against? Was it against?
It was against Villa. It was against Villa.
It was against Villa, and I thought
when the sub happened,
well.
they went.
Yeah, 100%. So I think they match up well against their midfield. They'll obviously they've got other. Yeah, Matt's already mentioned what they've got on the bench and the players that they've obviously have made an impact. As much as I hate to admit it, Trashford's done all right since he's been there, and Asensio's transcended what I believed he was capable of. So they've got options. So I think that's what I'd go with. But I'd go with the middle two of MG Dub and Anderson. I don't know what you think about that, Crypto. I think Yates does need a rest.
Yeah, just for crypto answers, we got nearly 500 across the networks. Please do hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X or Instagram or whatever. Make sure you're following on there as well. Get your comments in. I think you guys are kind of stirring the thoughts here. It's good to see you guys kind of debating with each other's comments as well. And I gotta say it, like this, I love our chat. They're crazy, knowledgeable, and funny. It has to be said. But yeah, what would you do? And same question to you guys in the chat. If we went a 4-2-3, well, would you go 4-2-3-1, Ben?
So for me, it does depend on the right back. I think if we can get the back four as Williams, Murillo, Milenkovic, and De Silva, I would go a 4-3-2-1. If Toffolo's playing, I'd want to see a 5-back because I've just seen too many times Toffolo get ran past in my life, and I don't have much faith left in him. So depending on who's at the back, I preferably go 4-3-2-1.
Who are you going 6 and 8 then? If you went 4-2-3-1.
So what I'd do is go Yates and Anderson, and then MG Dub, Cho, and then so a controversial point maybe that I wanted to ask is that I'll tell you my lineup, then I'll tell you the point. So Aina, Murillo, Milenkovic, De Silva, Anderson. Sorry. Williams, Murillo, Milenkovic, De Silva, Yates and Anderson in the 6 and 8, MGW in the 10. I'd go Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left, and I'd go Sosa on the right, and I'd put Elanga up front. Now, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, but Taiwo, for me, yes, his hold-up play is good, but he's reminding me a bit of Andre Ayew. He's not scoring goals. I have no belief that Taiwo can come on and score a goal, whereas Elanga is in some type of purple patch that we haven't seen before. So for me, I'd put Elanga up as a central striker and have Callum Hudson-Odoi and Sosa on the wings, because I think Sosa impressed again, and he doesn't get much of a chance, Sosa, and I'd like to see him have more of a chance, and this potentially is a point. Obviously, if Wood's fit, I'd bring Wood back, but I'm saying if Wood is unfit and it's the option between Awani and Elanga, I'd actually play Elanga in the striker position.
You know what? I'd go with that as an option off the bench. I would start with Taiwo. I do like the Sosa. I would start Sosa, and rest either Hudson-Odoi or Elanga. That's what I do.
Hudson-Odoi is rested as. He's rested. Hudson-Odoi is rested.
Okay, so yeah, possibly Elanga then, because I think having that option off the bench is great. But I think Taiwo will start that game, and if we have got Chris Wood available off the bench, and that's obviously another option that Nuno may look at if we need it later on in the game. I think we've got a good gap between the game after that. At least there's 8 or 9 games between our next game after the Villa game, so there is a chance to give a few minutes if we need to. I understand what you're saying.
Can I just come back on this point? Because I understand people's point in the chat. He's definitely not an out-and-out 9, but we saw him against Man United. Like, Awani wasn't involved in that goal at all. That was a counter-attacking goal, and Elanga ran through the middle of the pitch, took on his man through the middle of the pitch. Yes, obviously he normally plays on the right-hand side, but I think I don't know. I just feel like he's got more to offer us at the moment as a.
So let me give you the counter to that, mate. Right? Why I disagree with that? I think for the exact same reason what you just said. If you look at the Man U goal, I get you say he went down the middle to do it, but it's where he started. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He can pick it up deeper and run with it. Whereas, okay, I mean, Chris Wood comes back and defends and what have you, but traditionally you want your number 9 at least somewhere in and around the halfway line, even when you're defending.
Yeah, bear in mind, it was a corner.
Are you giving him enough space? Are you taking away his biggest weapon, which is his pace, if you're playing him too far up and you're cutting the amount of grass he can run into?
Potentially. I mean, I could be completely wrong. It's just a thought, because Awani for me is not working. I mean, you could put Jota up there, for example, and keep Elanga on the right. Something for me needs to change. Yes, Awani's good at holding the ball up, but I've said this before, like players like Andre Ayew, I couldn't stand them because they're there to be a goal threat and they're no longer a goal threat. And I think we need someone in that central position who can score a goal. So hopefully Wood's back, right? And we just go with our standard.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll start.
I don't think he'd start.
I think he'll be on the bench at best. At best. I don't mind what you're saying about Sosa. I'm actually preferring Sosa.
I think Sosa's good. We just don't know it yet. I think he's really good.
He hasn't played enough minutes though for us to fully assess him. That's the thing.
He's had his moments like a lot of the players, but I think Nuno, it's just the way I've seen him do it with Jota as well. Give him a couple of substitute appearances and then give him a start. And I think this is a game that he could do well to start in it. He's
better than Jota.
Well, he's defensively disciplined. I think he's got a threat going forward, and I think he's another one of those confidence players. You know, he's not had as many minutes as Jota, I think. So I think his chance will come. Nuno's definitely about the team building and the squad and all that sort of stuff. And I think he didn't do badly against Man U anyway. So I think he deserves a start and potentially maybe rest Elanga and then bring him on as a threat later on in the game.
Sorry, one sec. I just got to shout out these guys. Forest Till I Die, legend, 20 months. Thank you so much, bud. Appreciate it. I know it was a bit earlier in the stream. I just didn't cut the flow of the convo. Much love to you. And much love, of course, to Curtis with the 5 months all the way from USA. Much love for all your support. Sorry, Ben, go on.
I was just going to say, the thing I like about Sosa is he reminds me a bit of Callum Hudson-Odoi in the sense that he likes to run at people and he does get past people. And you can see he's skillful. I think we've got a good player there, but we just haven't seen it yet. And I think he needs a chance effectively because at the end of the day, like unless you start giving people chances, you're never going to see it. So giving him 5 minutes here and there is fine. But yeah, I mean, someone said in the chat, he's supposed to be one of the best players in South America. Yeah. I think we've got a special player there. And for me, I think Taiwo has had his chance, and I think he needs to.
So you wouldn't.
I do definitely disagree with what you've just said about Elanga. There's no way I'd drop Elanga. Elanga starts for me. He's our biggest goal threat at the moment.
And he scored against Villa, didn't he? He scored the winner.
He scored the winner, but he came off the bench to do that, didn't he? He didn't start the game. He definitely.
I feel like Elanga's a confidence player, and at the moment his confidence is like 120%. I mean, he's been posting pictures of him today on Instagram, basically fully naked, so his confidence is like proper peak.
Oh, that wasn't you.
With baby oil on as well.
Yeah, I want to kind of ask a weird question. Before I do, guys, please do make sure you've hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. I want to ask a weird question, and I'm just telling you where my head's at. I'm the calmest I've ever been for Forest since we've been back in the league. Like I'm even looking at this Villa match and thinking, do you know what? If we lose, yeah, I'll be disappointed, but I kind of feel like we've pretty much achieved the objective we need to league-wise. Obviously, we've still got the cup and stuff. Is there anyone else who's feeling weirdly calm about stuff? And am I even like making sense? Chat, what are you saying on this?
Yeah.
For those of you asking, by the way, Ant's we fired Ant, so Ant won't be back.
Too many expletives. Yeah, he's just. I mean,
do you think? Let's be real here, chat, right? It's pre 9 p.m. Do you really think we're going to do an early podcast, right? And have Ant on the podcast pre-watershed? Come on.
Yeah. And there's been no interruptions as well. So, you know, who's the one interrupting all the time? Rob and Ant.
Thank you for interrupting me there.
That's all right. I was to answer your question, the reason I feel calm about this season is 3 words: Murillo, Milenkovic, and Sells. Our defense is so solid. And I've seen Murillo interview and say something similar, like when you know that you've got Sells behind you, they don't worry. And look at Murillo yesterday covering for Sells. Like our defense it's made such a difference having Milenkovic at the back this season. And I still say he's captain material. I thought he was gonna like snap Morgan Gibbs-White in half when he was having a go at him.
Morgan Gibbs-White lost his mind. You don't pick on Milenkovic.
Yeah, he picks on Milenkovic. Milenkovic is captain material. He's a captain for his country. And says it's the most boring stream ever. He's that's because he's upset about the Danilo slander. But look, Milenkovic is the difference this season for me. I mean, statistically now, have we conceded the least amount of goals, or maybe after Liverpool?
At home, we've got the least amount of goals conceded.
Yeah, I don't think we've lost to any of the so-called top 4 or so. So we're top 6. We're brilliant at the back. Absolutely fantastic. And I really hope whatever we do, we don't sell them in the summer. And that's why it's hugely important that we get Champions League football.
Now, don't get me wrong. If we play crap, I'm still going to lose my crap, right? I'm just saying, in the bigger scheme of it, because I'm just looking, and I think 3-win against Leicester, we should beat Everton, we should beat Spurs. Yeah. That's 9 points. That puts us on 66, yeah? And you're probably going to pick up a couple of draws in and amongst that, and the other win. Probably gets us over towards the 70 mark. With the other teams playing each other, Villa are going to be either in the top 5 or ruin the top 5 for other teams because they're playing a lot of the contenders in this. And I just think we have the easiest run. After this Villa game, I've got this down as our toughest match that's left.
But that's exactly why I have genuinely been so calm about it and maybe a bit deluded with my predictions. But it's the way we've been playing and it's the way things have been going this season. As soon as we went 1-0 up on Tuesday, I was like, game done. I was more than confident, that we were going to hold out, and we've done it on enough occasions now where it's almost become muscle memory, even within the fan base. The fan base, I've mentioned a couple of times, even when we're, 0-0 going into half time, there's no boos, there's nobody getting on the backs of the players or the management, And unless we see something wrong, and when we've seen something wrong, the fans have reacted throughout the season. So you can't come to Forest and say, "Oh, let's keep their, we need to keep their fan base quiet." That tactic doesn't work against us. We know what to expect from our team, and that's, I think, part of the battle. The challenge we'll have next season is when teams want to give us the ball, but that's when we need better players. We're going to need better ball players next season. We're going to need people like a Cunha, for example, who can do something out of nothing. We will need those special players within our first team and within the squad. But for now, it's certainly working, and it's just making me feel so relaxed about these games. But touching on what Wolfie said, and I'm not going to say it, I'm not saying it because I think it'll happen, but even if we did lose against Villa, it's not the end of the world. We've got so many winnable games coming up. We have got the best running, I think, out of all of them. I've looked at all the guys around us, and I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping we can catch Arsenal and finish in that top 2. But top 3 was what I said I'd be happy with. A flashback to 30 years ago, and it's exactly what I'm getting. And I couldn't be happier or more relaxed about going into this last eight or 9 games, including the cup games of this season. And then we've got a cup semi-final to look forward to as well.
And as we did finish undefeated in that glorious Frank Clark here as well, didn't we?
Yeah. We had a cracking one.
Did we double you up all day? There must have been some draws in there. I can't remember.
There was a lot of draws in there. We had a really good start to the following season as well, and then it fell away. But yeah, I mean, like I say, a lot of flashbacks to that 94-95 season in terms of the positioning where everybody was writing us off then as well. Bear in mind, we just got promoted. So pretty much a team that's just survived relegation last season to a team that's finishing in the top 3. We had a lot of the same backlash then as well, but it wasn't quite as intensified as I think it is now, because most of these content creators that I've seen and I've watched recently from the Big 6, they've not seen us play. They don't remember 20-30 years ago. So for them, we're a upstart, don't deserve to be where we are, and we've upset the apple cart. But not just us, Newcastle, Villa as well. We continue doing what we're doing. You look at the teams that were promoted with us, all of us are in the top half and comfortably. And I think we've got, I've said this before, probably the 3 best managers in the league, probably outside the top 2 that you'd mentioned. But if you look at the management, the teams, the structure, the fan bases, we are where we are on merit. It's not a fluke. And I'm absolutely relaxed going into these last 7 or 8 league games of the season, because I think we'll do enough in the next few games to secure that Champions League position. And then it's, you can rest a few players, you can potentially rest players for that FA Cup semi-final, because they're without Haaland, aren't they? I think he's out for the rest of the season.
7 weeks.
But I do think I do think Marmoush is more of a threat, to be honest, going forward.
Yeah, what did I say about Marmoush?
Yeah, 100%. You know, he was well called out by you, but so he is more of a threat for me than Haaland anyway, because Haaland's done nothing in the games that he's played against us this season. So we've got potentially a chance to rest a few players if we can get these positive results over the next couple of games. But Villa game, you know, draw would be enough for me. But if you're going in with that mentality, I think there's potential. You can't play for a draw. Simple as. You got to play your strongest team. But I think Nuno will be trying to keep it tight, certainly for the first hour or so, and then have some threats off the bench. That's why I need on the bench. Langren Wood coming off the bench in the last half an hour or so. Fantastic.
Tom, I don't know if Ez will wave at you.
Ez can't read.
Unfortunately, I feel threatened when he took his spot the other day, and I don't know.
You could have come on tonight, Tom. We had a spare slot, bro.
I should have invited Tom on, man.
Yeah, you should have done, bro.
Oh crap! Well, we're getting Tom on loads anyway. Don't worry. It's fine. But yeah, all right. Let's do some predictions then, chat. I've got a poll up as well. Are you feeling calm about the season? 79% of you are saying yes. 20% of you are saying no. Interesting. I mean, if we beat Villa, if we beat them, that's it. It's done. Because we got our free win against Leicester. That's 63. We're done. I think we're fine either way. I'll be honest with you. I've never been this calm. Yeah, Darren, we'll get you on as well, Darren. There's loads of new streams coming on the channel, by the way. So keep an eye out for it. We're going to keep it fresh for you guys. There'll be some bonus faces, etc. Watch this space. Watch. There's plenty of plans going in.
I think Owen said the Villa game is probably our most difficult league game remaining, and I'd agree with him on that. So anything out of this game, I think, you know, we'd be happy with. But yeah, looking at the games after that, and so it's between the Everton game and Spurs game. You got like we play on a Saturday, and then the Spurs games the following week on Monday. So we've got a good gap between it. There's a chance for players to get back to fitness. I'm hoping Iron's not any more serious than it looked, but he's the one key player that I think could make a difference, but I think we've got enough in the tank. We've got to have enough in the tank. And if that's the case, then we've got to look at other options. But I would go I'd go with a free back with wing backs, and I played Dominguez at right wing back on Saturday. I think he can do that role, and it might be a role he'd have to do going forward. So let's see what Nuno goes with.
Yeah, just before we get into predictions, a lot of you saying get me on, right? Drop us an email. I'll put it in the chat. We are putting together some new stuff. But the criteria is that you got to have a good camera, you got to have a good mic, okay? And you're more than welcome.
Not like Rob's mic.
Or Ez's, right? So if you want to do maybe a show every couple of weeks or something like that, just drop us forestfantv.com. There's the email address. Drop us that. Let us know, because there's a lot of plans coming, especially if we do get into the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
Tom, you don't need to send an email, Tom. I'm just saying. All right. All right, let's do the predictions. Get them in the chat. Get those likes up. We're on 151 likes. 400 in, 500 across the network. We should be over 200 likes. If you want to see more shows on FFTV, let us know. We need to be on 200 likes. Okay. Ben, I'll kick it off with you. Villa match. Bear in mind they got Champions League coming up and what have you. Yeah, no, you're not invited, Mark. Sorry. No. Go on, Ben.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Forest. I just think our defense is too good. I don't see where we can see the goal. I know they have some good players, they have some informed players, but our defense at the moment is just so solid. And even if we did concede one, I think we'd have the confidence to go on and get an extra goal. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Forest. Trust in Nuno. Trust the process. Although I still think his subs are too late, but
yeah.
So you went with a draw against Man U and a 2-0 win against.
These guys are
to be fair, though, I made that prediction like a year ago. I need to update them. I need to change them all to a win.
Yeah, definitely update them, because I had a look and I'd a draw for the Leicester game. I was like, no, something went wrong here.
Exactly. Get them changed. Tom, please don't inflate his head. He's already been showing his dad and stuff that Tom Brooks is following him now on Instagram and stuff. So
I don't even think my dad's got Instagram. I don't even think my dad's got a mobile phone, to be honest.
I was just about to say something. Fuck, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, you know that was that the one they had Tammy Abrahams? Villa did the 5-5. Remember that 5-5?
Yes, because he scored 4 of them, didn't he?
Yeah, man. That was a tense game, man.
What a game, man. That was an amazing game.
Loads of you saying a draw.
Yeah, I'm taking that, and that's right. Yeah, one all draw is what I'm going with as well. I think that's what I put on my predictor. And I would have taken. I'd take a draw from this game anyway. I say so. Anything out of this game is a bonus for me. We'll see what the game plan is. Like I say, I'd be defensive starting off with a free back, and then try and nick a goal later on. But depending on how they set up, I think they'll want to get some players rested for the midweek game. So it could play into our hands to be patient and bring on key players with like 25-30 minutes to go. I think that could be a good game plan going into this one. If you want to get anything more than a point out of it, but you start with a clean sheet, and you build.
Is that where Styles breaks the record for a season?
And also congratulations to him. They just announced that he's Player of the Month for Forest.
Oh, fantastic!
Really?
So would that be the record for the Premier League? Would that be the Premier League record? 14. Sorry.
Is that Premier League record or no? That's not what the record is. The record is
it's for Forest. It's
but no keeper outside the top 6, or the big 6 has done that. That's what it is, I think.
Okay,
I'll look it up.
But it's been remarkable regardless, because I think Liverpool's is close, but they've switched their goalkeepers around a couple of times. I think.
Yeah, well, Alisson got injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
Also, I think we have the most clean sheets as a team anyway. One ahead.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah,
one ahead of Liverpool. But yeah, all right. I'm gonna. So there's a game now. Chelsea versus Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to back Spurs in this one?
You don't have to, bro.
Yeah.
Not that I'm worried about Chelsea, but I think.
But I want Chelsea not to get top 5. That'd be funny.
Yeah, of course.
I think Brandon Johnson and Jets fans.
I think Newcastle, and I'm hoping Newcastle will pit them to the final Champions League.
Who is your top 5? Well, we haven't done this for a while. Chat as well. Put your top 5 in. Who are you calling as the top 5?
Okay, I'll go first. And I'm hoping this one does flip around a bit. Obviously, Liverpool top. I hope, and I'm going to say it. Forest second, yes. Arsenal third, Man City fourth, and Newcastle with the final Champions League spot for me. I think we've got enough.
What are you saying, Ben?
I think that's exactly the same as what I'd say. Liverpool, Forest, Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle.
He's going for second as well, yeah?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we win.
That's as it is now, obviously, with Forest and Arsenal switching.
Yeah, well, look, Gabriel,
Forest, Man City,
Newcastle in it at the moment.
Yeah. And they've got a game in hand over everyone above them.
Gabriel's out for the season.
He's out for the season, yeah.
I think we can get second place. I think we can get second place and win the FA Cup. That'd be magical. Second place and win the FA Cup.
Be amazing.
Yeah, and also don't forget they've got Real Madrid next week. They've got Everton away this week. With the injuries they've got, I could see them losing to Everton. That opens the door. That puts us, if we beat Villa, which I'm not fully confident on myself, that's 1 point. We're down to a point with Arsenal. And we've got the second best form in the league currently.
Yeah.
Liverpool won the last 4.
We're 9 points clear of Villa at the moment, so I think they've got to go for it on the weekend. And it's pressure's on them, really. They need to win the game, not us.
You know what? When you put it like that, if they beat us, they're only 6 behind us.
Yeah, they're only 6 behind us. But
that's a lot of points, though. There's only 8 games left.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is it. So these teams have got to get a run of like 2 or 3 wins where we're not picking up points to overtake us. And our goal difference is way better than Villa's. This is -1. Christ's sake, So we're plus 15. So that's another point added on. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be concerned even if it did beat us in terms of trying to catch us. I think it will be between Newcastle. I think it will be Newcastle for that final place, and I think maybe they'll have to battle with Villa for it. Chelsea will win the odd game, but they'll lose the majority.
Run is horrific.
They've got the worst run, without a doubt. They've got the worst run, and they still got to play us.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. I'm going to send you over to Halftime Hooks. He's doing the watch along for Chelsea against Tottenham. If you could all do me a massive favor and just type in his chat Blood Brothers, right? Or FFTV Raid. Just type that. I'm putting it in the chat now. Just show him some love. Troll him a little. He always bites. So go show him some love there. If you haven't hit the like button on here, please do so. And we'll see you tomorrow for my preview, where I am actually going to heavily spice the team up, and I'll explain why on the video. Until then, come on, you Reds, and I guess come on, you. I can't say it.
I can't say it. Come on, you Reds.
Yeah, you Reds. Yeah, Blood Brothers. Yeah, like that, Mark. Blood Brothers, or FFTV Raid. Let's do it.